The sky above Kashi was draped in bruised indigo, torn between the last light of day and the first breath of night. The air smelled of ghee lamps, marigolds, and distant death. The Ganga moved like a hymn, and on the edge of Manikarnika, where the flames never die, an Aghori sat in deep samadhi, his eyes closed, his presence thunderous. A man walked toward him barefoot, with a tattered notebook tucked under his arm, and verses swirling like storms in his head. He was a poet, not a famous one, not a published one, just a man consumed by beauty, by longing, and by the ache of never being understood. He knelt before the Aghori and bowed.
"Baba," the poet said softly, "I have words, so many words. I offer them to the world, but no one listens. I try to capture truth, to hold time in a line, but I always fall short. I have written love, loss, longing, God, but still I feel hollow. Tell me, what am I missing?"
The Aghori did not open his eyes, his lips curved barely. After a pause as long as a lifetime, he spoke.
"You write because you think silence is empty. You think truth is made of letters and metaphors, but the highest verse is the one never spoken. The most powerful line shatters the pen before it's written."
The poet looked confused. Then why was I given this gift, this madness, this hunger to express?
The Aghori chuckled. "Because Shiva loves irony. He gives the poet a voice not so he may speak, but so that he may eventually realize there is nothing to say."
The poet frowned, wounded. "But Baba, when I write, I feel alive. I feel I touch something sacred. Isn't that Shiva too?"
"Yes," said the Aghori. "That moment when the poem writes you, that is sacred. But then comes the corruption. You want others to read it, praise it, understand you. That is where you lose the divine."
The fire beside them crackled as if agreeing. The Aghori picked up a bit of ash and blew it into the wind.
"You write to become immortal. But what if I told you the greatest poets are those whose names never survived? The ones whose words dissolved into the cosmos, like camphor into flame."
The poet's eyes filled with tears. "But Baba, what is the point then? Why create if it must vanish?"
The Aghori leaned closer. His gaze was fire and sky.
"Because in creating without attachment, you become the creator. Not the performer, not the observer, but the source. Right as the river flows, without reason, without need, without audience."
The poet whispered, "But I want to be remembered."
"Then you will suffer," said the Aghori, "because the one who wants to be remembered has not yet died, and only those who die before death truly write."
The silence hung heavy.
Then the Aghori added, "Poetry is not about beauty, it is about destruction. Every true poem must kill a part of your ego, burn your pride, strip your false knowing. If it doesn't hurt, it isn't a poem, it is decoration."
The poet looked down at his notebook. Pages of ink, longing, rhythm. For the first time it felt small.
"Then what should I write, Baba?"
The Aghori looked at the burning pyre. "Write as if this is your last breath, as if no one will ever read it, as if you are writing it for the fire, and the fire alone. Offer it to Agni, let your verses burn."
A single tear rolled down the poet's cheek. He opened his notebook, slowly tore out a page, and placed it gently into the flames. The fire accepted it without judgment. He smiled. The Aghori closed his eyes again, and somewhere between the ash and the breath, a poem was born. One that would never be read, but would be remembered by the stars.